looking. We are bringing us some real quality agents. I'm excited about some of these folks that are getting ramped up and getting started. They're going through training right now. And one thing that I really want to emphasize is the fact that when you take our whole system as a whole, okay, and not really leave out parts of it, then you have the best opportunity to make the business work for you. It would be kind of one analogy is, when um, you tell your spouse, I'm 99% faithful to you. Okay. What does that really mean, right? 99% faithful means 100% unfaithful, doesn't it? I mean, right? It's like being 99% pregnant. There is no such thing, either 100% or you're 100% not, right? It's like, I'll give you another way to think about it. It's like if a Coke costs $2, which I know, out of a machine. That's crazy. I remember back in the day when a Coke was like 50 cents, which I'm dating myself, right? Back in the day. But now, you go to a hotel vending machine and Cokes are $2 for just a little 8 ounce or 12 ounce can of Coke. And if you put in $1.75, you're not going to get the Coke. If you put in $1.99, even if you could put pennies in, you're still not going to get the Coke. You got to put in one more penny to get it to $2, and then you're going to get the Coke. I honestly believe that our business is similar, that if you don't take advantage of all aspects of it, then you're shortchanging yourself on making it work for you. It's exactly like the person that says, Alex, I'm doing exactly what you're teaching or what the videos teach or what so-and-so is teaching. I'm doing I go, dude, if you're doing exactly what they're teaching, you get exactly the results. And, big silence on the phone. Why? Because everyone thinks it's not them, it's the script or it's the leads or, I'm doing it exactly. It's like, bro, come on, man. Like if I don't know how many people were on my activity call last week. The neurolinguistic programming stuff I was teaching to overcome fear and all the stuff that I've used to help me overcome fear and anxiety. Um, uh, it's like it either works if you do it or works if it doesn't work if you don't do it, right? And the whole idea with neurolinguistic programming really came out of a guy named Bandler back in the 70s. Grinder and Bandler in the 70s did research, and their whole purpose behind NLP was how do we model successful behavior? That was really the question. These were these psychologists, and I forgot what their background was, clinical, they're doctors basically. And what they learned on how to model behavior, it's one thing to mimic what someone's doing, but in order to truly monitor it, right, you have to, or model it, you have to do exactly what that person's doing, how they're thinking about what they're doing, what they're saying and how they're saying it. But the most important thing was what is in the person's mind when they were doing what they were doing. If you can model exactly what was in the person's mind and what they were doing, you'll be able to total model their results, right? So when everyone says, Alice, I'm doing exactly, but I'm not getting the results, it's like, dude, then you're not doing it exactly. Because if you're doing it exactly, you'll get the results, right? Ergo, the results tell me that you're doing it exactly. Okay. So, where's the disconnect? The disconnect is you or the agent not doing it exactly. So how do we solve this problem? You got to do it exactly. And how do you learn how to do it exactly? You get around the people doing it that are successful, right? You come to events, you come to hotspot meetings, you get around the people that are making it happen. You do everything that we're teaching, right? But then you get validation from coming out to see that it's working. Okay. Now it's a very simple process, no, like take the emotion out of it. Like that's one of the hardest things is to actually do stuff without letting the emotions get in the way, right? Because we always attach everything we're doing with emotions. And then the emotions are what either motivate us to continue to do what we're doing or demotivate us to continue to do what we should do, right? It's always the emotions that get in the way. Else, my emotions fire me up. That's great today until your emotions and your thoughts change to where you have negative emotions from negative thoughts, then you do nothing. Or your fear grows to the point of you not doing anything, right? The power of our system is to teach you how not to be emotional about everything on both sides, where you don't get too excited because things are going great, or you don't get too depressed when things are not. Divorcing your emotions from understanding what you're doing to get the results will help you in so many ways. But easier said than done, right? Which is why, I taught the NLP stuff, the neuro-linguistic programming stuff last Friday. Now, look, I just know how it is. I have actually gotten more comments from people outside my organization than people in my organization about that call and how it, that they're jacked up about it, how it was very different than anything that I've ever taught before on a national call. And I don't think I've covered that stuff like 15 years ago, 10 years ago, on my call. But the problem with that is that most people don't really hear it from me. Like you hear it from me, but you don't do it, right? Just because you're so used to me blabbing on these calls, right? Prophet is without honor in his own land. I mean, biblically, it's so true. You guys will get less from it just because you're so used to hearing me drone on. Whereas other people outside my organization, they're jacked up about it and they're implementing these things that are making a big difference in their sales life, right? So I don't know how to tell you to just do it anyway, even though it's coming from me, right? I don't know how to tell you that other than telling you that, right? It's like just, forget that you know me, forget that you hear me every week, and just do it, right? Just do it. And so I know Mary uses it, right, Mary? But anyway, so
I use it a lot. I just sent you a big text and said, that helps me tons, Alex. Are you kidding me? I would have never even started selling final expense, much less the pension review programs and stuff like that. Because it allowed me to get out of my feelings, because I was a real feeling kind of person, to be able to just, do something to myself or whatever to disconnect, to be able to actually get past that fear and those me emotions, to be able to actually do what I need to do. Doesn't mean I don't get fearful, but I know how to handle it a lot better than I ever did before because of the fact that you taught me how. Because I watched your videos and I asked you how to do it, and you talked about these meetings. And I said, I'd rather play the devil's advocate and try it. Just try it, guys. You'll be surprised it actually really works. So thank you again, Alex. I can't not thank you enough for that. Seriously. I know it sounds, not as special coming from your assistant, but it means a lot to me. I appreciate you.
yeah, well, I mean, it does mean a lot to me that, whether you're my assistant or you're an agent, the fact that you use it. So anyway, so my whole point really by expanding upon that is the fact that it either all matters or nothing matters, right? It either all matters or nothing matters. Okay. It either keeping relationships with a long-term relationship with a spouse, are you doing everything to do that? Either all matters or none of it matters, right? So I think in our system, it's in place for a reason because it all matters to become successful. Now, when you like take pieces out of it, or you do the cafeteria method of, well, I'll just do this one and this one and this one, your results are not going to be as fully maximized as it could be, right? And that's what we're really talking about here. And when you so here's kind of what I'd like to really propose to you is that a lot of you are coming out of like regular 9 to 5 jobs, or you're still in a 9 to 5 job wanting to become independent. And you like the idea of being independent, but it's an idea to you. So there's good things and bad things about being independent. The good news is that you're in business for yourself. The bad news is you're in business for yourself, right? Okay, it's the good and bad news. And what do I mean by that? I mean that some of y'all, about 70% of you, are horrified at the fact that you own your own business. And so for the 70% of you that are horrified at that fact, I'm going to say this to you with a lot of love. Pretend I'm your boss and that everything that I'm telling you to do, you better do or you're going to fail. So let me treat you like an employee. And if I can help you treat your business as a job, then you'll probably do way better. Like, for example, when I say, how many hours a week do you have to put towards this? I've got 10 hours. Okay, so let's plan out your schedule. On Monday, when you get home from work, you're going to dial so you can run appointments on Tuesday. And then on Wednesday, you're going to get on the phone again to dial for Thursday. I mean, let's just pretend that we're going to put that kind of schedule for you. Then on Friday, you're going to book appointments for Saturday, right? If you don't do it, you're fired, right? Like pretend you got to clock in on Monday to make dials, and then you clock in on Tuesday to run appointments. You clock on Wednesday to make dials. You clock in on Thursday to run appointments, and then Friday you make dial. Like treat it like a job, and you will be mega successful. Okay. Again, whether you want to do it or not, like when on your job, some mornings you just don't want to go to work, right? And you don't have any much more time off, paid time off. So you have to go in. You may not feel like doing it. You have to go in. You just go in, right? Whether you like it or not. See, when you're on 100% commission, it's easy for you not to go in, meaning get on the phone because you don't feel like it, right? Because you've got no boss to be accountable to. Really, you're your own boss. But a lot of y'all don't know how to be a boss to yourself, right? So maybe you need me to be a boss. I'm okay with that, right? Maybe you need Mary to be your boss. Where hey, how many dials did you make Monday? Didn't make any. Okay. You're not fired, but we'll give you another shot. Okay. You're on probation. Can you make dials Tuesday? I mean, if you want us to treat you like that, we will do it. And sometimes you need to have that, right? Because you just don't know how to discipline yourself, right? Again, I'm talking to 70% of the people out there. 30% of you will be self-motivated no matter what. Like you want this thing so bad, it doesn't matter what we do or say. You are going to keep your own schedule. You know when you're going to make dials. You'll do $500 in a night if you have to book 10 appointments for the rest of the week or whatever, right? We already know that 30% of you like that. What you have to decide is which one are you, and then own it. It's not saying you're good or bad. It just means 70% of you are a certain way, 30% of you are not that way. 30% of you. Now, I know, Alex, but I'm like the 30%. Dude, come on, man. Just when's the last time you ever disciplined yourself to anything? Well, what I mean is self-discipline. Like, yeah, you played sports in high school. You had to go to practice or else you were going to get off the team. So you were forced to be disciplined. This is what I love. Everyone goes, well, Alex, you must be really self-disciplined to go to the Air Force Academy. No, I had to do everything or else they were going to kick me out. Right? It wasn't self-motivation. It wasn't self-discipline. I was being disciplined by the system to do what I had to do so I can graduate. Right? Okay, there was no self-discipline involved. It's either you do it or you get kicked out. Right? The only time anything was self-discipline was after I got out of the Air Force Academy and became an Air Force officer. And then I had to conform to the rules. I had to conform to the rules of the Air Force, everything I was supposed to do, but no different than anyone else going into the workforce, working for a company, right? Ours was amped up a little bit, right, David? David was an officer in the Navy. We were amped up a little bit because we were under the UCMJ, Uniform Code of Military Justice. So we had a little bit more responsibility and standards that we had to hold ourselves accountable to because we're talking about, taking an oath to defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic, right? So, but, just no different than a job where you got to show up or else they're going to fire you. Okay. So the power of discipline is either someone's going to do it for you or you're going to do it yourself. But be real with which way you are. And then let's work with that. Okay. I don't care. Like there's no shame in feeling like you have to have someone enforce discipline on you because we will if you want us to. Okay. Now I've not said that before a lot. Okay. But I have the staff and people that will hold you to it if that's what you need. right? Anyway, so that's really kind of my point. So I know we got some new people on here. And so I want you to really hear me loud and clear. We are going to give you all the support you need, but at the same time, you have to communicate with us when things aren't, going on the right track. We need to help coach you. That's why I love Darius's attitude. He's going to make it happen. I feel like Darius is the 30%. Now, Pablo and I are going to be there, and our staff's going to be there for Darius. Anything he needs, we are going to support someone like that who is going to go out there. Now, for someone who's not self-disciplined, we're going to support you too. You just got to tell us what your schedule is or when you can work, and then we'll give you a schedule. Okay. And then we're going to hold you to your schedule. And then if you don't operate your schedule, then we got to readjust your goals, because all this comes down to, what do you want this to do for you, right? What do you want this to do for you? And if you're not doing everything you need to do, then we need to either adjust your goal, or we need to enforce the discipline in order for you to get the goal. Okay, it's simple formula, right? But at the same time, everything has to be devoid as much as possible from emotion, because you start getting emotion messed up in your head, then you're going to be ruled by emotion. And that's why all the NLP stuff I taught on Friday and what I sent on video is powerful stuff. It's truly powerful if you use it. Again, the fear. So what I'm talking about there is fear that's debilitating. Now, some of y'all have fear, but you are able to work past it. I'm talking primarily to the 30%ers out there. It's not debilitating fear. What do I mean by debilitating fear? Is debilitating fear that causes you to not do what you're supposed to do, that causes you to create all kinds of excuses not to do what you're supposed to do, right? My wife calls it creative avoidance. You try to come up with all kinds of reasons not to do something. Catholics are really good at rationalizing why, they don't do things. I'm guilty as charged, right? I can rationalize anything, like the best of them. Although I don't do that anymore because I got that out of my head. Okay. So I really wanted to really cover that concept with you, because I think it's an important concept. So